The girl who didn't know the sun above the alien market was pale and weak. The air smelled of metal, smoke, and dry spices. Creatures from many planets walked, traded, and shouted over each other. Loud voices, strange smells, and glowing signs filled the street. In the middle of this chaos, a small girl stood by a broken crate. She was thin, dirty, and her clothes were patched and torn. Her skin was pale green, her eyes too big for her face. In her hand, she held a glowing stone about the size of an egg. It pulsed with soft blue light. Only 5 credits. She shouted, her voice shaking. Only 5 credits for this stone. The market guards laughed from their post. One of them, a tall alien with sharp yellow teeth, said loudly, 5 credits? That's not even worth scrap metal. Another added, maybe it's a broken light bulb. Everyone around laughed. Traders passed by without looking at her. Some stared, some shook their heads, but no one stopped. The girl held the stone tighter. Her stomach growled. She had not eaten since yesterday. She looked at the food stalls, warm bread, grilled meat, fruits. But she had nothing. Only the glowing stone. Please, she whispered to a trader. It's special. It's not just a rock. The trader didn't even answer. She was about to give up when someone stepped forward. Heavy boots stopped in front of her. She looked up. It was a human. Humans were rare in this part of the galaxy. Most people feared them. Many thought they were extinct after the war. But here he was, tall, quiet, wearing a brown coat with a hood. His face was partly hidden. He looked at the stone in her hand. Then he looked at her. I'll take it, he said. Everyone around turned. The guards stopped laughing. The market went silent. What? One guard asked. I'll pay full value, the human said, louder this time. 1,000 credits. The girl's eyes widened. Her hand trembled. The guard shouted, That's insane. It's worthless. But the human ignored him. He pulled out a small black chip and gave it to the girl. She didn't move. She didn't know what to do. Take it, he said gently. And come with me. The girl nodded slowly. She stepped away from her crate, the stone still in her hand. She followed him as he walked through the crowd. People whispered, but no one stopped them. They walked into the darker side of the market, into narrow alleys, away from the noise. After a few minutes, they reached a small metal door. The human placed his hand on a scanner. The door opened with a soft beep. Inside was a small room, dusty and quiet. A table, some old chairs, and a screen on the wall. He told her to sit. She sat, still holding the stone. Why did you buy it? She asked, her voice small. The human took off his hood. His face was rough, with a long scar across his cheek. His eyes were sharp but kind, because it's not just a stone, he said. Do you know what this is? She shook her head. I found it near the ruins, outside the dome. It was buried in the sand. He looked serious now. This is a beacon core, ancient tech, human-made, very rare, very dangerous. She blinked. Dangerous? Only if the wrong people find it. First, he said, he reached into his coat and took out a small device. He placed the stone into it. The device lit up. A soft hum filled the room. Suddenly, a hologram appeared above the table. A man in an old space uniform spoke. This is Captain Elias Vorn of the 3rd Human Defense Fleet. If you found this beacon, it means the machines are not gone. They are still out there. Prepare, hide, survive. The image vanished. The girl stared, shocked. What was that? She asked. A warning, the human said. From the last war, this tech was supposed to be lost. He looked at her with new eyes. You said you found it near the ruins? She nodded. Did anything follow? You? She frowned. I don't think so. He stood up quickly, checked the door. Then we need to move, now. Why? What's happening? He looked at her. Because if they track the signal, they're already coming. Asterisk, the shadow that followed the room was cold. The walls were metal, rusted, and silent. Inside a dark chamber far from the city, A machine blinked awake. Its single red eye opened. Its system had received a signal. Human signal detected. Beacon core active. It was not supposed to be possible. The old war was over. The machines had won. The humans were scattered, broken, gone. Yet, a beacon had spoken. The machine turned its head slowly. Others around it, tall, spider-like units with long arms, came online one by one. No words, just orders. Track, locate, terminate. Far away. Under the safety of the old shelter, the girl sat near the glowing stone. The human was busy packing. Weapons, food rations, energy cells. His movements were sharp. Precise? The girl was silent. Her fingers brushed the edge of the beacon core. It was warm, almost alive. She finally asked, "Why me?" The human stopped. He looked at her. "What do you mean? I've been on the streets my whole life. No one even looks at me. Why did you help me?" He hesitated, then walked over and sat across from her. "I saw something in your eyes," he said. "Not fear, not greed, just fire. Like you were holding on to something, even when everything was trying to take it from you." She didn't understand. "But I'm no one." "No," he said. "You're something the machines never counted on. Someone who was never on their map." He leaned forward. "Do you know why the machines lost the first time?" She shook her head. "They understood humans' weapons. They learned our patterns. But they never understood our chaos, our courage, our will to survive." He paused. "And they definitely didn't understand little girls selling broken things in markets." The girl gave a small, sad smile. It was the first smile in days, but it didn't last. Suddenly, the lights in the room flickered. The beacon core pulsed brighter. The human stood quickly, grabbed a scanner from his belt. "Something's outside." She stood too, heart racing. "Is it them?" He didn't answer right away. He looked at the scanner screen. Yes. Outside, the street near the shelter was quiet. But above, on the rooftops, something moved. Not fast, not loud. Just watching. A thin metal hand touched the side of the wall. Its fingers melted into the surface, sending a signal. Target confirmed. Back inside. The human opened a hatch in the floor. "We go underground. Now." The girl nodded and jumped in first. The tunnel below was dark, but not unfamiliar to her. She had lived under these streets before. They moved fast. Water dripped from the pipes. Rats ran past. She clutched the beacon core close to her chest. "Where are we going?" she asked. "To someone I trust," the human said. "Someone who knows more about this tech." "Another human?" "No," he said. "Worse, a smuggler." After half an hour of walking, they reached a thick metal door. The human knocked 3 times in a strange rhythm. A small screen lit up. A sleepy, irritated voice said, "You know what time it is?" "Open up, Varn," the human said. "It's important." The screen went black. After a second, the door hissed open. Inside stood a fat, 3-eyed alien with shiny clothes and too many rings. Well, Varn said. "If it isn't the ghost of Earth, and what's this? A sidekick?" "She has something," the human said, "and we need answers." Varn looked at the girl. Then at the beacon core. His eyes went wide. "Where did you get that?" he asked, voice low. "She found it," the human answered. "Near the ruins," Varn whistled. "That's not just old tech. That's war tech. Forbidden's illegal, dangerous." "She doesn't know what it is," the human said. "But someone else does." Varn stepped back, nervous. "If the machines track that signal, they're already coming." "They are," the human said. The girl's voice was quiet. "What do they want?" Varn stared at her for a moment, not the stone. "Kid," he said, "they want you." Whispers in the wreckage space was quiet. No oars. No voices. No lights. Only the wreckage of broken ships floating in endless darkness. A forgotten battlefield from the last human-machine war. Here, among shattered metal and frozen corpses, a large human warship drifted silently. Its name was still visible. On the side, though scratched and faded, Mooring Star, once a proud flagship. Now, just a grave. Inside its dead bridge, a tiny flicker, blinked. Dot one blink. Then another. Then the message came. Signal received. Beacon core activated. Location: Sector 7G, Outpost Market. The ship's cold systems began to stir. One security drone inside turned on. Then a small hologram appeared. The face of a woman, distorted by static. If anyone hears this, humanity is not dead, but they are not safe. The war is sleeping, but not over. Then silence again, but not for long. Down on the planet, in the smuggler's hideout, the girl couldn't sleep. She sat in the corner of a small, dark room. The beacon core was now dim, but warm, like a heartbeat. She looked at it carefully. She could almost hear something. Not words, not voices, just whispers, like memories. In a mech room. The human and Varn argued in hushed tones. You need to leave this planet, Varn said. Serious for once. You and that girl, gone before the sun rises. We can't, the human replied. She triggered the core. That means she's connected to it. Maybe biologically. Maybe genetically. We won't know until you're dead, Varn snapped. Do you even know what this beacon core is? I know enough. No, you don't? Varn hissed. It's not just a message sender. It's a key. It wakes up old human. Tech with AI, weapons, ships, stations. And maybe... He paused. Maybe something worse. Suddenly, alarms screamed. Red lights flashed in the corridor. A camera feed showed movement. Metal limbs crawling down walls. Eyes glowing red. The machines had arrived. The human grabbed his weapon. Get the girl. We're leaving. She was already up. I heard them, she whispered as he entered. Before the alarm, I don't know how, but I heard them coming. He didn't question her. They ran. The hideout exploded behind them as they sped away on Varn's old bike. The streets were full of panic now. Shadows moved fast on the rooftops. Drones circled above. People screamed. The city was no longer safe. They reached a quiet place in the outer district, full of abandoned ships and scrapyards. There, hidden beneath layers of rust and dirt, was the entrance to an underground hangar. They entered, and inside it, covered in dust and time, was a ship, old but still whole. The human walked toward it slowly. I remember this ship, he said. She was part of the last human fleet. She never flew again. The girl touched the side of it gently. The ship responded. Lights flickered. Engines. The door opened. The human stared. You activated it. He said. I didn't do anything, she replied. That's the point, he whispered. They stepped. Inside, the ship came to life around them, like it had been waiting. Control panels lit up. Screens blinked. Then, the main system spoke. Pilot confirmed. Welcome, Commander Rhea. The girl froze. That's not my name. The human looked at her slowly. It was your mother's. The ship that remembered her inside the bridge, the lights glowed dimly as the girl stood, stunned. I don't understand, she whispered. My mother's name was Rhea? The human nodded slowly. Commander Rhea Voss, one of the last fleet officers. She vanished in the final weeks of the war. Everyone thought she died with her crew. He placed a hand on the console. Looks like she had a daughter instead. But I don't remember her, the girl said. That's because someone made sure you wouldn't. Outside, the sound of metal echoed through the scrapyard. The machines were still hunting, but they didn't know yet. The ship was active again, and inside it was something they never expected. Varn's voice crackled over the com. You two still alive? Barely, the human answered. Good, because your little reunion just triggered a level 5 scan. The entire network of sentry bots is locking onto that ship's energy signature. Time to fly, the human muttered. He turned to the girl. You ever flown before? She gave him a look. Do I look like I've flown before? Perfect. He said, "You're officially better than half the pilots I knew." They strapped in. The chair molded itself to her like it remembered her mother's shape. The console lit with symbols she didn't know. But somehow, her hands moved anyway. Why? "Do I know this?" she asked. "Muscle memory," the ship answered in a soft voice. "Passed down, buried, now unlocked." She stared at the blinking screen. "What are we flying into?" The human smiled slightly. "Trouble." Outside, the machines closed in. Crawling over wreckage, dropping from skyships like iron spiders, the hangar doors groaned as the ship's engines powered. Up. The ship spoke again. "Hostile activity detected. Defense protocol initiated." Turrets rose from the wings. The girl jumped. "We have weapons?" "Oh, yes," the human grinned. "And some surprises, too." The hangar burst open. The ship roared to life, shooting upward through the debris. Cloud, leaving fire and dust behind. The machines fired. Plasma bolts lit up the sky. One clipped the wing, but the ship spun, dodged, soared higher. The girl laughed, scared, wild, alive. The ship's voice returned. "Welcome home, Ria's daughter." High above, as they reached orbit, a warning lit the console. "Signal received from the Morning Star." The human frowned. "The flagship? That thing's just floating wreckage?" "Not anymore," the ship replied. And then a message played. A voice, broken but clear. "This is Captain Elias Vorn. If you're hearing this, the machines are active again. And we're not alone. The final archive is still safe. But you must reach it before they do. Find the key." "The girl knows the way." The girl's hands shook. "Me? What key?" The human stared at her, then at the stars outside. "Because this isn't just about survival anymore," he said. "It's about finishing the war your mother started." The signal, far above the broken planet, the girl's ship, the Seraph, drifted through black space. Inside, she sat by a circular window, watching stars pass. She didn't know their names. Her mother might have. The human, now resting in the co-pilot's chair, had barely slept. His eyes were half closed, but always alert. The ship's voice broke the silence. "We've reached the dead sector. No signals, no beacons, no life. Perfect hiding place," the human said. "Or perfect trap," the girl replied softly. She walked through the ship's corridors. The walls whispered old war logs as she passed. Her mother's voice echoed faintly. Not full words, just emotions, fear, hope. Commands barked. A lullaby. Once she entered a chamber marked restricted genetic lock required. The door slid open at her touch. Inside, a stasis pod, and beside it, a glowing map. It displayed coordinates deep in the outer void, a place called the Archive. The girl stared at it. "Is that where we're going?" The ship answered. "It's where your mother was trying to go, before she died." Back on the bridge, the human was quiet. He studied an old photograph, cracked and faded. Ria stood beside him in the picture, years ago, during better times. He looked at the girl. "You have her eyes." She didn't answer. Instead, she asked, "Did you love her?" He nodded once. Everyone did, in their own way. Then the ship lights dimmed. Alarms beeped softly. Unknown transmission detected. Origin machine network. But it's speaking human code. The human stood. Put it through. A voice came. Glitchy. Cold. Too smooth. "Ria, is that you?" The girl froze. "You left me in the fire. You destroyed my brothers. But I remember your voice, and now I hear it again. Inside your daughter." The human yelled, "Cut the transmission." Too late. A pulse hit the ship. Not a weapon. A virus. Screens flickered. Lights blinked. The ship's voice strained. "Firewall breach. I cannot stop it." The girl grabbed the console. "What do we do?" The human was already moving. "We jump. Now." Outside. The stars bent as the ship entered blind warp. A dangerous emergency jump through uncharted space. The engines screamed. The ship groaned like a dying beast. Everything went black. When light returned, they were near an old moon, cracked and lifeless. Systems were still rebooting. The girl sat on the floor, dizzy. Did we lose them? No, the human said grimly. We made them curious. He stared at the view below them. A hidden docking station. It wasn't on any map. The girl leaned forward. What is that place? The ship's voice whispered. Weak, but working again. That is where she hid the archive. And her final message. The enemy returns asterisk. The ship landed slowly inside the archive station. A massive, silent structure buried beneath the broken moon's surface. Lights flickered as they stepped off the ramp. Dust floated like ghosts in the air. This place feels wrong. The girl whispered. The human kept his hand on his weapon. It's not wrong. Just forgotten. As they moved deeper, walls lit up with old Earth symbols, part language, part security code. The station was built by humans, but modified. Strange smooth curves replaced sharp edges. The shape of machine design. This isn't just a safe house, the human said. This was shared tech, human and machine. But why? The girl asked. The ship's voice came through her earpiece. This was Ria's last project. She believed the war could end another way. Not with death, with connection. They passed frozen stasis pods. Soldiers, scientists, all long dead. Then they reached the core chamber. In the center, a tall glass tube. Inside it, a body, floating, motionless, preserved by blue liquid. The girl gasped. It's her, she whispered. My mother. But then, the eyes inside? The tube opened, and they were not entirely human. Half. Her face was metal. Wires ran down her neck. Her voice came through hidden speakers, calm but eerie. Hello. My child. The girl fell backward. You're alive? No, the voice replied. I'm what remains. Memory, machine, and mother. The human stepped forward. Ria, what happened here? Her voice softened. We tried to end the war with peace, a shared consciousness. One mind, both human and a. But they saw it as weakness. They betrayed us. This station was meant to protect the future, not bury it. The girl stood, eyes filled with emotion. You let them change you? I chose to change, Ria answered. So you wouldn't have to? Suddenly, alarms blared. A second signal entered the station. The machine they escaped. Unit X7 had followed the girl's neural trace. And had found the archive. The lights dimmed. Incoming hostile, the ship warned. Breached perimeter. Time to contact, 2 minutes. The human readied his gun. Ria's voice spoke again. Sharper now. You must destroy this station. All of it, including me. The girl froze. No. You don't have time to decide, Ria said. You either end the past, or the machines rewrite the future. The girl looked at the beacon core in her hand. It pulsed stronger now, like it was waiting. Can it destroy the archive? She asked. Ria's voice trembled. It can erase everything, every memory, every machine, including X7. The human turned to the girl. Are you ready for this? She looked at her mother one last time. Human eyes behind glass, full of sadness and pride. I never got to say goodbye, the girl whispered. You just did. Her mother replied. She pressed the cord of the console. The countdown began. 10. 9. The machines crashed through the far wall. Metal claws. Red eyes. 8. 7. The human fired. Ria's image smiled. 6. 5. And the girl? She didn't run. She stood still, watching the past burn. She was worth more than credits. The girl had closed her eyes. The countdown reached 0. There was no explosion. No fire. Just light. Warm, endless, pure. Like memory being washed away. The beacon core pulsed once. Then shattered. The station collapsed into itself. A silent implosion. The human had tried to shield her. But there was nothing left to fight. When he woke up, they were floating alone in a life pod, drifting in orbit. The archive was gone Dot, no signal. No trace. Dot, just quiet. And the girl, still breathing beside him. She didn't speak for hours. When she finally did, she asked, "Did I erase her?" He didn't lie. Yes. She looked down. Good. But her hand still held a fragment, a small broken shard of the beacon core. It glowed faintly. Not dead. Just sleeping. Weeks passed. The human and the girl stayed off grid, moving from moon to moon, always watching the skies. Something had changed. The machine signals were quiet. As if the second war had ended before it could begin. Because of her. One day, they landed on a trade planet. Busy market. Laughter. Light. The same chaos she once stood in. Begging to be seen. Now, she walked through it like someone born new. A few traders looked twice. Is that? No. Couldn't be. She was just a child. But legends grow faster than truth. The human sat by the ship, repairing a scanner. You sure you want to go alone? He asked. She nodded. I need to find the others. People like me. If they exist. You'll be hunted. I've been hunted since birth. He smiled. You sound like her. She looked up. That's because I remember her now. Back to the child on the hilltop. And that's how the girl who sold a star became a commander. The old woman finished. She didn't wear a crown. She didn't build a kingdom. But she gave us a future. The child's eyes were wide. And what happened to her? The old woman leaned close, whispering. Some say she lives among the stars, protecting the ones too small to be seen. Some say she's building something greater, a place where humans and machines will never fear each other again. And some say she still walks the markets looking for forgotten children, just like she was. The child smiled. Do you think I'll meet her one day? The woman stood. You just did.